Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in a little bit more in depth on the pathology of the narcissist as well as the psychopath. And really those individuals who present a trouble, a difficulty, a tension in your life and can oftentimes be a very difficult obstacle to either get through, move around, or get beyond, get above. And really, it requires a heightened sense of awareness, consciousness, and then effort and ability to assert yourself, your boundaries, apply your knowledge, and then move through your life successfully and heal as quickly as possible when you are encountering these type of individuals. And I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to those of you who have recently donated to me in the channel. It brings me so much joy and gratitude to know that you are utilizing the tools, the resources, and that this is providing you with some confirmation of perhaps what has been you've known all along, or certain issues that have presented problems to you in your life, and I'm able to present the tools, the insights, and the awareness for you to move on. So thank you very much for your recent donations. It's so important to me and validating and energizing for me to receive those, as this does take work, preparation, and consistent and consolidated effort to deliver the content to you. So thank you so much. It really helps give me the power to keep it going. So thank you once again. And a shout out to all you beautiful deep divers who are continuing the good work and doing the good job that you're doing through listening to the videos. I appreciate your viewership, and keep the good life going. Keep the good life in your sights. It's so important that once you've been encountered a destructive individual, someone who has hurt you, such as a narcissist or a psychopath, it's very important to utilize some tools, some higher knowledge, some awareness, some education, and really, you know, human education on different types of people and how to cope with them. Oftentimes it's very difficult grappling, and it creates so much of a wound that it's oftentimes difficult in that hurt state. It can be very lonely, and it's very difficult to know where to turn and how to pick up the knowledge, the tools, apply them, and then how to consistently apply them. And really that is the secret. That is so important, is that you have, once you arrive at the knowledge and the tools, you have to stick with it. You know, the wound didn't occur overnight, and the healing isn't going to take place overnight, but you will get to that healed destination where you are able to identify the narcissistic and psychopathic individuals and no longer be wounded by them. And really to realize that their insults, their insinuations, the tension that they try to create, that feeling of you being less than will no longer bother you, because you realize that they are opportunists. They are individuals who have a pathological sense of self-importance, and they will try to keep this position, as well as what I'm calling basically a sort of grandiosity that they try to maintain and keep in place, a sort of required grandiosity that keeps them in that heightened position where you are to feel less than. You are not able to communicate. You are meant to feel invisible. You are meant to feel as if, you know, where you're coming from, that you're the crazy one. Your needs are unimportant. They're not valued. And it's oftentimes because there's really a lack of empathy that occurs within the cluster Bs. The narcissist, as well as the psychopathic individuals, need to maintain a sort of grandiosity or a heightened sense of self-importance as it relates to others. And they do this really with a number of tactics, but particularly so in the tension that they create, the invalidation, and the feeling of fear that oftentimes plagues the aura, or what I call the ambiance around the environment that they create. And I know we've had a number of viewers from other countries, and yes, this situation and dynamic does occur in other areas, and they've inquired, what does ambiance mean? They've asked me, you know, this is my second language, what does ambiance mean? And ambiance just means kind of a feel to the room, a feel to the environment. I feel it's an ambience. It's an overall vibe, if you will. It's an overall energy. It's a tension that they create. And I really want to focus in on the grandiosity and really what I call as the opportunistic narcissist or psychopathic. They are extremely opportunistic. And so they are preying on other people's weaknesses, their naivete, and the goodness in their hearts. So we hear about people who marry for convenience, or the psychopath, who marries for like the shell of a marriage. And it is very important to realize that this does happen. This objectification and this opportunistic, which most people would find unconscionable. They would not be able to tolerate treating an individual with such coldness, distance, and objectification, and really to take advantage of people. So that's why it's so difficult. I find that with individuals who have become targeted as supply, that they can't let go of these individuals because of the initial love bombing, or how charming or how special they were to them, or how perhaps maybe they had looked up to them. But it's unconscionable. They can't comprehend. They look at life in such a different way. They have such a heart that is still pervading in the relationship. The heart, it's kind of like the dream lives on. The heart lives on in the relationship. And once you've had that dream with them, it's hard to let that go. But I would say, you have to keep your heart going. Your heart does go on. Your dream does go on, but it's not with this individual. Because this individual does not contain the neural wiring, the brain regions which are responsible for empathy. There's a slowed activity in the brain regions, the limbic brain, the prefrontal cortex, the hypersensitivity to reward that we see in the psychopath, that keeps them targeting people. And realize that they have an insatiable need for control and power over others. And oftentimes they exhibit what is known as impulse control. So, we see this high-risk behaviors, or we see their outlandish, boundary violations sexually. They violate others' boundaries sexually, and their time, and, their respect. And people then confuse this with love and, true romantic love. In fact, a lot of people tend to interpret it as, this is what, the love is like. This is what good love or true love is like, when someone is violating your boundaries. Instead of you growing or expanding as a person, it's very important to understand that oftentimes it's very deliberate and calculated, and that this individual with a lack of empathy, to maintain or restore that grandiosity, they tend to move on to a number of different supply sources or target sources or ego feed sources, however you want to think of it, describe it, or understand it. And so it keeps that grandiosity in place. It restores that grandiosity. Even each time you tend to become, transfixed on this pathological individual, a cluster B, an individual who has a pathological sense of self-importance, it is maintaining their grandiosity when you have the bickering, the fighting, the back and forth, the trying to restore, the initial love bombing phase, and, become the codependent, constantly putting them first and trying to get them to understand your needs, trying to make them see, trying to make them understand. And so understand the operative word and the operative emotions and the operative behavior that you're going through. Use the tools of metacognition, which means the ability of the human mind to understand what you're doing while you're going through it. In other words, if you find yourself sitting at a bar, mad texting them, realize, look at how much time you have invested in trying to get this person to see the light, to see how good you are. I think oftentimes people who are truly empathic, truly caring, and truly love these individuals, they're trying and striving to get this narcissist or psychopathic individual to see how good they are to them and see how good we have it. They're trying to get them to restore that feeling, that love bombing stage, and it's, you know, basically what you're doing is you're elevating that grandiosity. And, you know, even though the narcissist or psychopath could have already moved on, they're keeping you, you know, and their strings in place because, you know, they thrive off of that sort of ego feed. So in other words, if you're crying and you're, you know, having a spat for them, you're basically revalidating for them how important they are, but it's in turn invalidating of you. They're keeping you in that suffering stage, and it's almost unconscionable when, you know, we understand how opportunistic these people are, to the extent, you know, which they will pathologically lie or stay in relationships that only serve them and deplete another. And it is very serious. And so when I get very emphatic about how important it is to go no contact, how emphatic it is and important for you to break free and realize, you know, where your emotional bank account is, and to really restore your own self-value and your worth in yourself, and know that you deserve better and that you can, your heart does go on, that you will have a restored heart, you will have a restored sense of humanity, you will have a sense of restored harmony and peace in your life once you can break free and kind of get some distance from it and get some perspective on the relationship and what you've been through. And furthermore, you know, allow yourself to let go so that you can receive. I really feel that, you know, those individuals who have been targeted by narcissists or have been in family dynamics or work dynamics with someone who has taken advantage of them emotionally and you've exposed them for being, you know, a pathological liar, having a facade, having a mask, having a double life, cheating on you behind your back, like things that you would not even be capable of doing in your emotional repertoire. And realizing that this person is now, you know, a narcissist or a psychopath or someone with a pathology. It's very important to realize that, you know, there's certain validation that you have not received. And it's now you have to give yourself permission to let go so you can now receive better. Even if it's painful, even if it's difficult, even if it's tough pill to swallow, even if, you know, you never thought that this would happen, you know, to you and to good people, you know, it's a lesson to be learned. And so in your recovery journal, make sure you write down your lessons learned and glance upon them every time and again and revalidate yourself. Nothing is more important than you, and nothing is more important than your happiness and your fulfillment. It's so important for you to realize that and to live that and embrace that and not feel guilty or not feel narcissistic or not feel selfish for that, because oftentimes since you're so accustomed or habituated to being abused or taken advantage of, that it oftentimes feels contradictory to your life story to let them go and move on and allow yourself to heal and then attract someone who is, you know, healthier for you. And you have to give yourself permission to let them go and then to receive and allow the universe to now embrace you for the real, authentic, empathic, and kind person that you are. And then also I find the number one rule when looking for people who you surround yourself with, make sure that you have that filter. And make sure that you have that filter, that you don't, you know, with your lessons learned. In other words, your filter is created by your boundaries, your assertiveness, and your lessons learned. And that then the people who you surround yourself with, most importantly, have the qualities of empathy, that they have the ability to listen to you, and they have the ability to validate you, value you and your needs, and they just don't make you constantly feel less than. Because that's a really good rule of thumb or a lesson learned, is that after the encounters, if you constantly feel less than, inferior to, or kind of a little bit afraid, you know, after encountering them, a little bit timid, you know, and not like excited like I've got butterflies, but, you know, you have a little bit of trepidation or fear, that's a good sign that your instinct, your intuition, your subconscious mind is trying to guide you in the right direction. So heed those feelings, heed that little voice, take time to respect yourself and honor that voice, and begin to trust yourself and believe in yourself and have faith. And oftentimes, more than not, you will find that you had paid attention to a voice inside that is meant to steer you in the direction of your own best interest and your safety. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.